know of assurance that he's doing what God has called him to do, and that Jesus Christ is his priority. I've been praying and seeking God for in this time. First of all, the church was impaled upon this cultural bypass. And when I say impaled, the church will never be the same. It has impacted the lives of families, homes, businesses, and yes, even church. And with that, we are now scrambling to find a new norm, or what we call a new norm. And with that, the hearts of many people have changed toward the Lord, toward church, toward their view of salvation and final things. So with that, I searched, and there were many scriptures that ran through my mind, and most of them were somewhat challenging. I want to talk about the rich man who died because of materialism, this new revival of materialism. But then I thought the greater emphasis after Evangelist Pat Williams and I talked on Thursday was, I think people need to fall back in love with Jesus. I think people have lost their vision, lost their mission, and even lost their way. And many times when you do, it's a humanistic view, self now, self over everything, self first. And because of the urgency of necessity with the pandemic, it made people decide, I need to do something for me. And there's nothing greater you can do than get your soul right with God. And there's nothing more important than getting right with God. Now, and when I say this, I want you to understand that the urgency and the importance of getting the message to the lost is not prevalent in many churches and among many people. I hear a lot of people say, don't talk about hell. We don't want to talk about hell. But the reality of hell doesn't go away because I refuse to talk about it. The reality of hell is ever present. And unfortunately, many people have ignored the signs that God has given us that we need salvation. The Bible says in Titus chapter 2, verse 11, that the grace of God has appeared to all men. So we should seek salvation, but many people have gone to pursue other interests. And this revival of materialism make people think, if I just get some more money, a bigger house, a faster car, then I'll be better off, a finer restaurant. And through the revamping of social media, people are posting the lavish lifestyle and how they lavish upon themselves, denying themselves nothing. This new materialism is not new at all. It's since the beginning and the dawning of time, where men have sought pleasure over God. In fact, some people have elevated pleasure to the place of idolatry. They've created a new idol called pleasure, pleasing themselves at any cost, pleasing themselves at any price. Matters not who get hurt, matters not who get overlooked, taken down. I want what's best for me. That's really not a good thing. What you really should say is, I want the Lord. And you don't, a thing that's probably foreign to most of us, self-sacrifice. Jesus said, if any man would come after me, let him first deny himself and take up the cross and follow me daily. Now, denying yourself, well, what does he say in deny yourself? Well, deny yourself the pleasure of this world, deny yourself the luxury of trappings, and deny yourself the efficiency of luxury time. In other words, we should spend our time, our leisure, and our time telling others about Jesus Christ. Now, we can't tell people about a God that we're unfamiliar with. We can't acquaint people with the God that we're unfamiliar with. And no preacher anywhere should struggle with salvation. If you don't know that, in all my years, almost 50 years in preaching, I've never seen this type of carnality that want to cloak yourself in clergy. And I've seen such criticism. No, you have no idea. And people say, why you do that? Why you do that? You have no idea at the level of criticism a pastor face in this time, because the climate is not good. And a pastor spent his life building church, and a segment build their life scattering the flock, running because of their insufficiency in their own personality. No one's perfect, but neither do we claim to be. But the church is still the best game out. It's the only way. But I was with a young minister yesterday, Jeff, and it was interesting because as we talked, I was surprised at, at how people, but it's a common thing when I was talking with Dr. Williams one time years ago, and we were talking about the training and the time and the effort that you spend learning about the way of the Lord. You could put that into secular education and probably fare better, but the dividends and rewards is eternal, what you do for Christ. And what you do for Christ will last throughout all of eternity. The Bible said God is not unmindful to forget your labor of love. And many times people forget that God is watching and he's concerned about every soul. The Bible said God loves all souls. He's all souls of mine. But the soul that sinneth, it shall die. Now, that's why I said I wanted to talk about the rich man, but I won't. I'm gonna resist and go to Matthew chapter 11. Matthew chapter 11, and Jared, I'm so glad to have Jared. Y'all know he's officially, y'all don't see him, he's not here. He's not here. Don't. He's basking in the glory of the sun somewhere down in the Bahamas somewhere. That's where he's at right now. Matthew chapter 11, verse 25 said, and at that time Jesus answered and said, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and hast revealed them unto babes. Even so, Father, for so it seems good in thy sight. All things are delivered unto me. For my Father, and no man knoweth the Son but the Father. Neither knoweth any man the Father save the Son, and he to whomsoever the Son will reveal him. Come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your soul. For my yoke is easy and my burdens are light. Jesus said to his disciples and to the onlookers, basically, he was answering a question that many had that day. Show us the Father. He said, well, to know the Father is to know me. And to know me, you'll know my Father. He said, but now, and especially, he was talking to especially those people who he said, I call. You must understand there's an issue you must clear up with your own heart. Do you love God more than life itself? Do you love God more than anything? Have God place a call on your life? Have God impact your life in such a way that you put him over everything? If so, you surrender to him. And sometimes we say with such a surety that we have other things to do or things that are more important than God's business. And he looks and it breaks the Lord's heart. It breaks the Lord's heart that he did so much for us and we have so little for him. It breaks the Lord's heart that we will come to the house of the Lord. We rush in only to rush out. And one of the selling points of a church now is we get out early. We get out early. And yet the Lord tells us that we should remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. That whole day should be committed and dedicated to the Lord. And the world mocks us because we minimize all the effects of the Lord. Yet the Lord is yet saying, I stand at the door and knock. He's stand with outstretched arms for anyone that will come unto him. He said, come unto me, all you that labor and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. The world is fatigued with mental anguish because there's no peace, saith the Lord. People are so worn out and weary. People are tired. People are losing it on every hand. The book of Isaiah said violence is breaking out in the earth. We have rampant violence in our cities and in our suburbs. We have people that are cold-hearted and callous. They're vicious, and we got road rage. We got crime at an elevated state. Our cities have become battlegrounds or forsaken wasteland, and people still don't realize the only thing that can turn this madness around is Jesus Christ. And Jesus declared, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And if Jesus is the answer for the problem, then why don't we give them the solution? If you see a man drowning, would you not throw him a lifeline? If you see a man that is in trouble, will you not offer him help? Jesus is our safety net. Jesus is our lifeline. He's our only way out of this untoward generation. The Bible didn't say the world would get better, but he promised us that God would deliver us in the time of trouble. And then whether you know it or not, things are headed in a downward spiral. We're in a car with no brakes, headed downhill, and God wanted to get us and rescue us in time. But the problem is not the world, it's the church, because many are asleep. The Bible says the children are eating and drinking and rising up to play. There's something wrong when so many of us, especially we that are preachers, we have other priorities other than the Lord. We have other things that's more important than the Lord. And some of us, we in a popularity contest or a race for wealth, and we have forsaken the Lord our God. But I want you to understand one thing, that God is not, he's not going to wink at our wickedness. He wants us to come back to him before it's too late. And if we who have the gospel don't preach it, and the problem with that is we that have it won't preach it, and the others don't know how. I've never seen, the Bible said in the book of Isaiah that you got preachers that are like a dumb dog that will not bark. It said, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. It's not that they're not saying, it's that they don't even know it. You got to qualify for the blessing that you desire. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. You got to put some time in learning of Jesus. I would not take the time to come to the house of the Lord and be bogged down talking about other things or other folk. I would spend my time spreading the gospel. But we got empty people that come to a full God, and now we're full of folly. We're running folks away from the Lord because we are workers of iniquity. And the Lord said, depart from me, you workers of iniquity, because God now saying, this world is on fire. Which of you would see a house on fire and will go in and sit down and have a tea party? No, it's time that we get the folks out. The Bible said, warn them. We got to warn them that are lost, warn them that are falling, and we got to warn them that are backsliding. It's too late. It's the saddest two words ever compilated together. Too late. You know, you don't want to hear that or any time. The other day, I rushed to get to a store, and I was in McCullough at Shannon's, and I rushed to get to the store. And when I got to the store, the man shook his head and said, I'm sorry. I said, I can see you. And he can see me. But he said, no, I can't let you in. It's too late. Everything is on a timer. And I thought, now, I missed the time by just a couple of minutes. Therefore, I didn't get the goods that I was trying to get. But now that only worried me for 24 hours. Early that next morning, I could have called. I could have gone myself or sent somebody else. But it won't be that way with eternity. When God say it's too late, you won't sing another song. You won't pray another prayer. You won't preach another sermon, because time is up. It's payday time. and payday is coming. They used to sing a song, payday is coming after a while. Well, after a while is now. Now is the day of salvation. Now is the acceptable time of the Lord. Call on the Lord while he's near. Call him. Whosoever call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. I've never seen so many lukewarm people. They standing in the middle. You know, the Bible says, I wish you were cold or hot. When you're cold, you can get heated up. And when you're hot, you can cool down. But when you're lukewarm, he said, I'll spew you out of my mouth. If you want to know how distasteful and dissatisfied lukewarm is, then just set your coffee out for a couple of hours and take a swig. That's nothing more disgusting. You put a couple of ice cubes in it and it's delicious. You put a little fire on it and make it hot and it's delicious. But when it's just there in the middle, it's good for nothing. And the problem with the church today is full of lukewarm folk. We got lukewarm preachers walking in like they big shots and don't know enough to walk around the corner. We got high dollar missionaries. They lukewarm. They too busy to call on Jesus. I'm sick of it. And I know God is too. When people say, why the preacher mad? If you were mad, if you were saved, you'll be mad too. I think I'm not the only one that's mad. I'm thoroughly convinced my God is mad too. And my Bible says it's a terrible thing to fall into the hands of the living God, into the hands of an angry God. When God get angry, see, some folks get angry and they spread lies. Some folks get angry and they spread rumors. Some folks get angry, they get low down and sneaky. Some folks get angry and they get creepy. But when God get angry, he stand tall and he look low. When God get angry, he holds the lightning in his hand. I've heard the lightning striking. I've seen the thunder roll. Sin breakers brashing, dashing, trying to conquer my soul. But I heard the voice of Jesus telling me to fight on. My problem is this. Because oh no, I ain't the fact that God is mad. I'm concerned that we're not mad. We're not mad when sinners run over the saints. We're not mad when the saints start talking about each other. The Bible says when you devour one another. It's hard to build a church. It takes skills to build, but you don't have to have a demolition license to tear down. Like Raven Wolf, we come in and see how good things is. And immediately, like termites, we start to deter it and tear it down. We get jealous, we get angry, and because we can't do it, we try to tear the preacher down. It's your thing. Do what you want to do. When you can't do it, you try to destroy the one that do it. But go on with your bad self. God got your number and God got your location. Soon and very soon, God's coming back for a church. Soon and very soon, He's coming back for a church without spot or wrinkle. I see a lot of spots and a whole lot of wrinkles. You better go and do your work all over again. Make sure that your hold is holding. Make sure that you're on the right side of right. Many of us is on the right side of wrong. We're culling under the wrong fire. We're warming up to the wrong folk. We're impressing the wrong crowd. We're pleasing the wrong folk. If we spend our time study to show yourself approved unto God, then it's as easy as Michael Jackson said, it's as easy as ABC. And 1, 2, 3. All you got to do is just repeat after me. If you don't know, you're not gonna go. I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing people come in the house of God with arrogance and pride as a thanking God for having such a paragon servant as themselves. So cosmopolitan, energetic, and enterprising that they're doing God a favor just by showing up. Then you got another crowd. They feel like the church is outdated. His rules is outdated. And they can do something better. But I want you to know the same God that got Abraham and took him to get Isaac, the same God that took Abraham away from his family and made him the father of faith, the same God that killed Goliath with David's rock, the same God that let Joseph go to prison and elevate him to a prince, the same God that allowed Deborah to rule over Israel as the first female that sit under a palm tree and judge all of Israel, the same God that visited Jeremiah down in the prison when Jeremiah said, I won't preach no more in his name, said, just like fire shut up in my bones, the same God that told Joel in the last days, said God, I'm going to pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters should prophesy. Your young man should see visions, and your old man should dream dreams. But now I think we're just delusional. There is a difference between a dream and a nightmare. A dream ends in peace, and a nightmare is a horror story. When we fall in love with Jesus, when we fall in love with Jesus, we can't spend enough time with him. We don't ask how long you're going, we got to stay here. When can we leave? When you fall in love, it's not how long can I be away, it's when can I see you again? When I was a young boy coding, I would talk on the phone till both of us got sleepy. And my mom would tell me, boy, get off that phone. And we had a landline. And they'd say, I can't even get no calls. And we wasn't saying nothing. And sometimes your parents will pick up the phone and say, y'all ain't talking about nothing. And we just holding the phone. I just want to hear you breathe. See you sigh. Oh, because I just want to be around you. And when we start walking home from school, I said, let me take your books. Now, I got the same amount of books as she did, but let me take a load off of you. And my arms are full of books. My knees are wobbly, but I felt 10 feet tall. And all she had to say is, thank you, Leon. And the next day, I'm waiting at the door, bated breath, can't wait. And look at this one, look at this one, look at this one. There she is. And I act like I just showed up. Oh, you go this way? Walk this way. Walk this way. And while we're walking, let me carry your books. And always respectful. As, can I meet your mama? Can I talk to your daddy? And sometimes the day right beside. And he'll say, that's a good boy. He's working on the car. I'm all under there with him. And he said, girl, that's a good boy. And I said, you good boy, you good boy. And pretty soon, some other joker come around trying to court her. And the dad will look at him like a pit bull. That ain't Leon. What you doing talking to him? And she said, my daddy just love you. Because you had respect. But now when you got folks, you got crazy folk, they go home with them They had crazy parents, crazy rules, crazy laws. So you can't make crazy make sense. Sometimes they don't want you there. The daddy didn't want you there. So you were blocking him. Sometimes, oh, y'all getting mad at me. Yeah. Sin is a reproach to any people. Good people do good things. Good people have a good conversation. Nasty people have a nasty imagination. They think nasty thoughts. That days are dirty. You can have clean hands and a dirty heart. But when you got dirty hands, you got a clean heart. God told the man, pull them out. Your hands get dirty, but your heart is clean. A farmer got dirty hands, but he got a clean heart. A mechanic can have dirty hands, but he got a clean heart. An embezzler got clean hands, a white shirt, but a dirty heart. A thief got clean hands, but a dirty heart. And God looks at the heart. Who can know the heart of a man? God. I'd rather have dirty hands and a clean heart than to have clean hands and a dirty heart. And so many times in church, we got folks, they bigger than they britches. They walk around the house of God like they somebody. You ain't nothing but a pile of dirt. The Bible said, let no man think of himself a little higher than he ought. Some of us too busy for Jesus, too important for God. He said, my yoke is easy, my burdens are light. Somebody need to hear this good news. If you're not talking about the gospel, what are you talking about? Daffodils and roses won't save you. Let's go back to talking about Jesus. Let's go back to lifting up Jesus. Let's go back to talking about the cross. Let's go back to talking about Calvary. Is something wrong when a sinner and a saint can turn against a saint? Then that means one of them is and one of them ain't. Because light has no fellowship with darkness. A sinner ought not to be so comfortable with you that they can criticize the church. When I'm wrong, y'all take the mic and say he's lying. When God get ready, he'll let you go so far. But I promise you, we're living in judgment time. We're doing judgment work. The Bible said the days are evil. It's time to cry loud and spare not. Lift up your voice like a trumpet in Zion. We need to sound the alarm. It's a 4-alarm fire. This world is in trouble. Stock markets are crashing. The economy is folding. Companies are fading. Recall at every level. But it's a problem that this world has never seen before. In the book, it says, it's in the book of Samuel, it said there should be a famine in the land, not for meat and bread, but for the word of God. You can get food boxes everywhere, on the corner, in the alley, across the track, everybody giving out food. Food is not salvation. It said the belly for food and food for the belly, but they all perish together. The number one thing folk come to the church for now is they want snacks. They want food. They want drinks. They want fun. They want pleasure. The single folk looking for a mate. The married folks looking for a way out. Everybody looking for a break. And nobody's looking for God. Do anybody love Jesus? many love Jesus? The Bible says stiff-necked generation. And Moses. I got to talk about Moses. God sent Moses to deliver his people. And God sent serpents to bite the people because of their rebellion. And when the serpent started biting the people, God said, Moses, take the rod that you have, make a brazen serpent and wrap it around your rod and hold it up over the people. And if the people look up, they can live. The people say, we will not look up. The Bible said they are stiff-necked folk. Folks won't look up for nothing because they know if they got to look up, they got to get up. And if they got to get up, they're going to be accountable. Nobody wants accountability. I'm going to stretch out and say, Brother Jolly, a whole lot of folk think they got it going on. In fact, a lot of preachers going to stand before God. They're going to say, I know you not. Workers of iniquity. Now, what's a worker of iniquity? Well, the opposite of workers of iniquity is workers of salvation, bringing folks in. Now, if you're running folk out, you're a worker of iniquity. You might as well close your Bible, go home. I didn't say it. The Bible said. Something's wrong in the house of God when you got another agenda. Something wrong in the house of God when you got another priority. Something wrong. You're not called. Let me say it. I ain't God, but you ain't called. Because when I got called, I put God above everything. We ain't even at the gate yet, and we cross our leg like we a big shot. I hadn't did nothing. Can you pray? Not right now, not right now. Can you fast? Not today, not today. Can you witness? No. Too busy. Go on with your bad self. God said, if these hold their peace, the rocks surely gonna cry out. And let me tell y'all a little secret. It don't get too hot for me. All that little criticism and lying and conniving on me don't hurt me. Baby, I've been doing this almost 50 years. I got rhinoceros skin. It don't hurt me. You know, when it get too rough for others, it's just right for me. Keep on, you'll see. No, I've been doing this so long. I've seen you before. I've survived many coups. So just keep on. Because as Gladys Knight said, I really got to use my imagination. To keep on keeping on. I got to make the best of a bad situation. Oh yeah, y'all think, let me tell you something. I'm used to being for folk that not for me, lifting folk that don't lift me. I'm used to praying for folk that won't pray for me. Praising folk that criticize me. I'm used to this. 50 years because I love God. And Miss Eleanor, I love him enough that when God called me, I made up my mind, I don't care who go. I got called as a young single man, living saved, wasn't sleeping with nobody, wasn't doing nothing. When I got married, my wife didn't have to go look and wonder and guess. Now, after I got married, it wasn't on me. I played by, I played by the rules. That's why all the folk that come here, they come to the house that Mike built. Because I played by the rules. That's why my wife said, if you throw me out the door, I'm coming back through. I don't blame you. But you know what? If you throw me out the door, I'm going to say what? I'm going to say, now it's my turn. The eeny meeny, mighty mo. Here I go, shut the door. That song said, I won't be back no more. I've told people from the day I got saved, I got saved at 17. I ain't did everything right, did a lot of things I shouldn't have did a lot of things wrong. If I come in and tell y'all a lie, I've been saved. Listen, I was 17, did every stupid thing in the world you could possibly do. Cliff, I made enough mistakes and did a lot of stupid things. I wish if I had a chance to start all over, Miss Eleanor, I got saved at 5. I don't regret one day that I got saved, because every time I messed up, I went right back to the cross. married a woman almost 7 years older than me. Father-in-law didn't like me, brother-in-law, sister-in-law didn't like me. And in my wedding, the only person I knew was me. Look at the pictures. But I didn't do wrong. I did right and held my end up. And Pat, if I started lying, come take the mic. I held my end up and I held it down. Y'all here, y'all ain't never seen nobody come in and support me. They didn't call me and they can't recall me. I'm going if nobody go. Now, I've had people say when I go out somewhere, people say, his wife ain't never with him. Well, you know what, why are you criticizing me? I'm here and I can do it better than anybody you know. So I'm here. That ain't no indictment against me. That ought to be a plus. I came when nobody patted me on the back. I came when nobody encouraged me, so I'm all right. These nasty Negroes gonna have the audacity to criticize. You done had 6 or 7 wives. I kept the one I got in spite. Yeah, we fell out of love. Fell out of love probably the first day. Then makeup. All we were just like the stylists, make up the breakup. That's all we did. My wife told me one day, said, the reason I ain't worried about you because your family don't believe in divorce. I said, I can start a new tradition. But I stayed and I prayed. And when we didn't get along too good, I still stayed. And now I don't try to do nothing. I ain't trying to teach no grown person nothing. You can't teach, I ain't trying to, listen, if a person wants Jesus, they 40 years, 35, 40 years old and don't want him, they just don't want him. Grown man or woman, if they don't want him, what you keep telling folk, Cliff, you keep telling folk, don't do that. You've been in church and then you tell a person, do this, why tell somebody? Evidently, that ain't what they want to do. Go and do what you do. I'm just like Jesus. Jesus told Judas, you're gonna do it anyway. Go and do what you do, but just do it quickly. Jason, sometimes, see, that's the thing with the church. Church ain't got no patience. Folk get married today, tomorrow they want to break up. If you made a vow to God about that person, but you made it to God. Now, if that person don't live up to that end, that's between them and God. But you treat that person right. You don't mistreat a person because they lose a leg, lose a lip, lose hair, lose an eye. You stay with them, prop them up. Leave folks now for catching a cold. She told me she wasn't gonna never get sick. She got a cold, I'm gone. There are 2 types of people. There are builders and there are tear downers. And let me tell you something. Most people should know in every situation, you should know what you add to your job. You shouldn't go to work tomorrow if you don't add nothing to your job. Just quit, stay at home. And you should know what you add to your marriage. If the marriage is carrying you and you don't bring nothing, you go to the lawyer. Say, hey, but tell the lawyer the truth. Say, you know what? I'm the booger. And you should know what you add to your church. You've been there and you got the word, you got blessing, you got honor and respect, and you look around, you did none of that. You ought to leave. I said it. I'm the only one in this church can say it. If you ain't adding nothing, go. I had a man tell me one time, he want to leave. He said, me and my wife gonna leave. I said, well, take with you what you brought. We want to explain to the flock. You didn't explain to the flock when you join. Take what you brought, you and her. I ain't gonna tear the church down. You know, I work too hard to build a house of God. Folks just undignified and indecent, just cruel people. Loving God means you treat folks right. Let me tell you something, loving God, I have a shepherd's heart. I love Mary Holmes. I love Miss Eleanor. I love them like they're my mother, even though they're not old enough to be my mother. I love people like I love people. I love Brother Bell. I don't even know him as long as I've known some people, but I love him. I love people because I got the love of God in my heart. That don't make me weak. Some people, Pastor, so nice. You know, the complaint, all the complaints, that's your complaint? That I'm nice? I just want to stay under the blood. I've been saved long enough to know that if you serve God and do right, God will reward you. And I really want to see him. I don't want to run and then at the end I'll be lost. I really don't. I was praying the other day, God said, I'm gonna give you some help. I'm gonna give you some help. I look at Jolly. I look at Jason. God said, Paul. God said, I'm gonna give you some help. God sent help to his house, not my house, not my church. Pat, God sent help. Pat, she loved the church like she the pastor because she loved it. God loved his people. And so she gets upset because why can't people, lukewarm folk, you know, you got to put a gun to have a meeting. Falling in love with Jesus is the best thing I've ever done. This story of the gospel shall never get old. I want every one of you to examine your call. The Bible said, make your election, what it said, Melvin, make your election sure. James, we should be sure that we're sure. And that means take my yoke upon you and learn of me. My yoke is easy, my burdens are light. You got to give up something. You gave up something. When you come to Jesus, you have to give up something. Some of us, we don't want to give up nothing. Professor? Bring it down a optic.
Falling in love with Jesus. Falling in love with Jesus. Falling in love with Jesus is the best thing I've ever done. Falling in love with Jesus.
Oh, falling in love.
Falling in love with Jesus. Falling in love with Jesus was the best thing I've ever done.
Whoa, when you're in his arms.
In his arms, I feel protected.
Souls protected.
In his arms,
I'm never
disconnected. In his arms, I feel protected. There is no place I'd rather be.
One more time, everybody. Falling in love. Let me hear everybody.
Falling in love.
Oh, let me hear you. Stand to your feet. Everybody stand to your feet.
Jesus.
Come on.
Falling in love with Jesus.
Falling in love.
Falling in love with Jesus was the best thing I've ever done.
Woo! Come on, one more time, everybody. Wave your hand.
Falling in love with Jesus. Falling in love with Jesus. Falling in love with Jesus was the best thing I've ever done.